Hey, welcome to the Jumping Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Guess what?
What?
We've got special guests today.
Fantastic.
I know. Do you know who our special guests are?
I do. I'm aware.
Well, let's introduce them. Actually, we can let them introduce themselves. Our guests are from Proof Alcohol Ice Cream.
I'm Jenn Collins, the CEO and co-founder of Proof Alcohol Ice Cream.
Welcome, Jenn.
I'm Dirk Brown, the other co-founder and chairman of the company.
Awesome. Welcome, you guys. Kyle, I think what we're going to do, because we have Jenn and Dirk here, let's do a tasting of the ice creams, because guess what they did?
What'd they do?
They sent us some ice cream.
Well,
That's exactly it. We reached out. We're like, hey, we love what you guys are doing. How about we do a tasting? And they're like, absolutely, let's do it.
yeah, brilliant idea.
So let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So what we're going to do is have Dirk and Jenn kind of walk us through some of the flavors. We'll sample some of them, see what we get out of it, and move from there.
Should we start with our wheelhouse, or do we save that for the end?
Ooh, what do you guys think? What should we do? Should we start with the bourbon based?
Bourbon Caramel is just like screaming at me right now.
I would start, guys, I would absolutely start with the Bourbon Caramel, because that's really the genesis of how this product came together.
Ooh.
And it's definitely our number one seller. It's a very versatile flavor that can be utilized just as eating it directly out of the pint, or perhaps using it in desserts or on a warm brownie or a piece of pie.
I want all of those things right now.
Did you bring the pie?
No, I did not. I was ill prepared.
What about the brownies?
Same. Still not prepared. That sounds amazing.
It does. Is that how you guys? How do you guys normally when you're eating Proof? And I know you've probably had a lot of it. How do you guys normally eat it?
I'm a pint girl. I'm right out of the pint, or I love it in a stout beer, in a pint of Guinness. A scoop and a pint of Guinness is very, very good.
Oh my goodness, that sounds fantastic.
I'm a pairings guy. I like to pair my ice cream with various things and see how the flavors complement one another. But I will say that it's been more than one occasion where I've actually pulled a pint out and got through the whole thing. We actually have to save samples when we're calling on customers, and Jenn always gets mad at me. She won't let me hold the sample kit anymore because of one minor incident where the samples went missing.
It happens.
It does.
True story.
Let's start with the wheelhouse, Kyle. We've got the bourbon flavored ice cream.
Dessert with spirit.
I love it.
That's a brilliant logo. So was this your initial flavor?
This was our initial flavor. So it's interesting. Growing up in Kentucky, we're known for three things. We're known for basketball, bourbon, and horse racing. And like anyone or any family from Kentucky, quite often we'll try to put bourbon into lots of food products, whether that's bourbon balls or bread pudding. So why not ice cream? And we found that the blending of those two, particularly between the milk and the cream and the bourbon, really marries those two flavors together in a way that will hopefully you guys will enjoy once you taste them.
Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine not. I mean, bourbon cream, caramel being such a prominent note in bourbon anyway, that just seems like a no-brainer for sure.
Exactly. And it's definitely our number one seller. Each serving in that pint, what we call a proof pint that you're holding, each serving is 7% ABV. So in that pint, if you were counting that out in servings, there would be the equivalent of 4 servings in that.
Gotcha.
One.
Yeah.
Just for me.
And you're going to be happy afterwards for sure.
Exactly. 7% alcohol. This is really, now can I ask this in terms of, before we get into it, was there a reason 7%? Was that a threshold that you guys were like, we're good here, or like why there?
Well, we had done some taste testings in bars and restaurants throughout South Carolina before launching a proof of concept in 2015. And we tested product at a 10% ABV, which seemed a little bit too strong for the palate for most folks. Then we tested at a lower, 2.5 to 3% ABV, or that was just a little bit too low. And then the 7% really seemed to hit the sweet spot as far as palate pleasing for folks across the broad spectrum.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, makes a lot of sense at the same time.
Yeah, like you don't want to push it too far, because I think too about like a beer. Most people, if you give them a 10% Russian Imperial Stout, unless you're my dad, and you're like, I'll drink that in the summer.
Right.
Most people are like, that's too much.
Right.
You know, if you give somebody something that's like a Schafferhofer that's somewhere around 3%, tastes like water.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But somewhere in that, 5 to 7 range, that makes perfect sense because you're going to get enough of the alcohol, boozy nature that, people are going to know it's there.
That you're wanting out of it.
Exactly. But not so much that you're like, oh, no, I'm out.
Yep. Goldilocks.
Well, Nick, you may appreciate this. In the lab, we have, of course, gone very low, as you suggested, and quite high. So Jen and I have enjoyed some 15% ice cream on occasion in the lab, and it's good. It's got a punch though, and it's probably a bit too strong for most people, but maybe not you guys.
Cask strength proof.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, is there going to be like a barrel proof edition at some point in time?
Special release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single barrel.
All right. Should we get into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what we get and then see how far off we are or on the money. What do you think?
Sure.
You guys good with that?
Absolutely.
You want a bowl or you want to just do it? Okay.
I don't need a bowl. Dude. I get every bit of it. I get
bourbon. I get the caramel. It reminds me a lot of almost like a bourbon pecan pie or like
Totally.
caramel drizzle on the top.
for sure. I mean, it starts very smooth, creamy, caramel. All of that comes forward. It's the bourbon. I feel like it's kind of it comes through mid palate towards the finish.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And then the aftertaste, you totally get like you just had a sip of bourbon.
It's a Kentucky hug, but like a cold Kentucky hug. Ain't no burn there.
That's actually very well said. It's the heat finishes on the very back end, and it can be a little, when you've never had it, it's a bit confusing to your palate at first, but as you eat a few more spoonfuls, you'll be able to pick out the caramel notes, the bourbon notes, the vanilla, and then the heat on the back end of the palate.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That like just in the second bite that I had, it's just like sipping a whiskey. Like everything else starts to sing, other notes start to be more prominent and things like that. You're able to kind of like separate things out.
Yeah. What I really like is right away I get ice cream. Obviously it is ice cream, so you get that like, okay, this is familiar. This is ice cream. But then once you get kind of like past that, like we said, mid palate, you then start to wait, there's something different here. And Jen, it's really interesting that you say like you're kind of like confused at first, and that's that 100%. That's where I was of like, where do I place this? You know, it's not totally bourbon, it's not totally dessert, but it's this really beautiful melding in the middle there, and that is delightful.
Yeah, that's easy to understand why that's the bestseller.
100%.
That's fantastic. Wow. Have you ever considered like, do you ever add nuts or actual like fruit into any of the ice creams?
At the moment, we don't. As it relates to inclusions, what we would call inclusions in the industry. With that being said, as we continue to tighten up our recipes and we continue to roll out additional flavors, we certainly see that opportunity with this product.
Sure.
You know, we're still relatively new to the space. It's a brand new market category that we've created. So part of the challenge in the startup space is, you know, introducing this brand new market category or educating folks on the fact that this is the only product where you can combine, you know, high-end, high-proof alcohols with our proprietary recipe and get this beautiful product that is very pleasing to the palate. At least I think the two of you think so.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
And I'd say we know a thing or two about some bourbon.
Yeah.
Well, I'll jump in here as well on the inclusions, because we actually have a lot going on in the lab that, you know, has yet to come to market, which I think will be exciting news for everyone. But one of the things that we've seen in this space is, you know, alcohol doesn't freeze at ice cream temperatures. So what you're tasting is actually kind of impossible. And that's what Jen was referring to. It sort of confuses your brain because alcohol is a liquid at ice cream temperatures. And so what we have in what you've been eating is we use some proprietary binders to bind the alcohol molecules in suspension. So they're actually liquid, but they're bound at the molecular level so that you get the nice creamy texture with the good mouthfeel. And that's where you get that pop at the end. That's where that heat comes from at the end. A lot of folks that try and make quote alcohol ice cream, what they do is they soak nuts or raisins. They soak raisins in rum, for example, right?
Sure.
And they put those in the ice cream, which is a good product. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same as what you've tasted. You wouldn't be able to replicate that homogeneity of the taste profile the way that we
completely infused into the ice cream.
Right. So we do alcohol ice cream first, add the inclusions second, and we may do a combination of things, but we don't rely on inclusions to put the alcohol in the ice cream, which is one of the things that we've seen other people try and do. It just doesn't, to us, not the same experience, not the same product.
Yeah, and what I really like about this too is it's really smooth in terms of the texture, you know, and I've had, I don't know if you've gone somewhere where they make a milkshake and they're just, you know, pouring booze into a milkshake, and it's fine, but the texture becomes more grainy. Like there's like if you get like a mudslide or something, it can be that like granular kind of just ice chunks, and it's not mixing really well.
Right.
This is mixing it's mixed so well together because of, you know, the science that Dirk mentioned here.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
Ooh.
And that's delicious.
Fascinating. That's gonna be hard to beat. I'm not gonna lie. That was really good.
It really is. You guys got anything else on the bourbon caramel before we move on to the next one?
No, I'm just very, very glad that you both liked it as much as Dirk and I like it, because it's certainly one of my go-to flavors, but I'm anxious to see what else you guys pull out, because I have a second place flavor that I'll chirp up on once you guys open it. That has become one of my newer favorites as well.
When we were talking with Kim, she mentioned throwing something in some coffee. So we brewed a cup of coffee too, and we'll split that and we'll tease that a little bit. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah,
and we'll throw something in there later.
That is a great idea, because I forgot about that. And it's really, really, I'm a big coffee aficionado. I love coffee. And yes, Kim is exactly right.
Kim is your marketing officer. And we were in contact with her originally. And she's like, when you guys do this with them, make a cup of coffee, throw it together. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I will say Kim's not just our chief marketing officer. She's also the culinary maestro in our lab. So she throws together the weirdest stuff. I don't know, Jen, who figured out that bourbon caramel tastes good in a pint of Guinness, but whoever did that in our team, that was amazing. And I think it might have been one of our customers. So the other thing, so Nick and Kyle, one thing we see all the time is customers come to us with recipe opportunities. And so Kim has started to put out recipe cards, and our new website rollout is going to have a whole bunch of these pairings. I really think it's magical when you take this already amazing product and you pair it with stuff like coffee and Guinness and other treats.
Yeah, that's actually something that a listener asked us is, you know, what do they have any recipes that they recommend? So I'm really glad, Dirk, that you mentioned that, because I think that's going to be huge too. Not only do you have a great product, obviously just having the bourbon cream, not only do you have a great product there, but also if you guys ultimately roll out the recipes, that's going to open things up even more. That's really cool.
Totally.
What we got next, Kyle?
I've got my eye on this Cheesecake Moonshine.
Okay. Cheesecake Moonshine.
Is
this a newer flavor?
It's an interesting flavor. So it's newer in that it is 2 to 3 years older than the Bourbon Caramel.
Okay.
And it is not, I have to say, it is not a flavor that I would have anticipated that has done extraordinarily well in the marketplace. And again, I think it's another flavor that is very versatile and can be utilized particularly on, with fruits and berries, lighter pies. And this is the flavor I was mentioning earlier, guys, that I have absolutely fallen in love with and just cannot get enough of it.
So you basically chose Jen's top two.
Yeah, there you go.
Is what I
Yes, you did.
I'm pretty sure me and Jen are on the same wavelengths. We don't know Rush,
Dirk and I've got Rush. You two have got ice cream flavors. All right, should we get into it?
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to go first on this one since you went first on the last one.
Go ahead.
I'm so curious to see what you guys think. I love this flavor.
Can I ask you, is it just like a simple base cheesecake, or is it like white chocolate, or?
It's a base. There's no flavor to it, and it's just a regular. I'm looking at y'all's reactions. It's crack. I wish we were on video now, because this is fantastic.
That is amazing.
Do you like it?
I really do.
Are they all the same 7%, or do they kind of vary?
All 7%.
I was going to guess this one might have more of a kick to it.
I think it tastes like it has more of a kick to it, because you initially get, to me, the alcohol is a little bit more forward here. Where the alcohol hits you a little bit sooner than on the bourbon caramel.
Right.
And then you get this really luscious cheesecake creaminess.
For sure.
Yes.
And I'm thinking just alcohol wise, thinking in terms of moonshine, Like this definitely has that more of a pronounced, like that White Lightning
Absolutely.
kind of younger alcohol feel to it.
Yeah, it really does.
Which pairs so remarkably well with like the creamy cheesecakey notes that you're getting. Phenomenal. That's really good. And it even builds on your palate just
I was
like
just gonna say that.
just
It
like
lingers,
a whiskey
doesn't
does.
it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it lingers and it gives you that kind of whiskey finish.
Man, like I want to put that in a bowl and put some like raspberry syrup on top, or not syrup.
Yes.
What am I thinking of, Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like a drizzle.
Yeah, exactly. Compote. How's that? What do you think?
Yes.
Like, warmed up just a little bit.
Yeah. Or you could even pair this with like strawberries. Do like a berries and cream.
I mean, I pair it with a spoon. It was delicious
Yeah.
with a spoon.
No joke.
What I like about this one is the mouthfeel on because the creaminess for me on this, you got the sort of dense cream and then this pop with the alcohol heat, and the feeling in my mouth when I'm eating this ice cream is unique, I think, in some ways.
We talk a lot about the roller coaster of a drink. You know, when you get something that has a bunch of different notes here, and that's exactly, I think, Dirk, what you're describing is that I initially get that little bit of alcohol and then that luscious creaminess and then alcohol again. And it's that really nice roller coaster that, man, I really love out of that. That is delicious.
Like I'm thinking in terms of, beer and whiskey, how the temperature of the drink changes flavors. Do you get that same kind of a thing with the ice cream? Like as it warms up, kind of like more like if you had a bowl, as you get to the end of the bowl, do the flavors start changing? Do things kind of move around?
I eat the stuff so fast. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't have time to try it.
We it's actually no, because and this is part of the IP that we all talked about before the call a bit, but we have been fortunate to figure out a way this product tastes the same from the first spoonful, to the last sip, if
right.
you will.
Probably because it is so blended together.
Now, with that being said, what we have not done, and where we could see some of our, our lab work going, for lack of a better expression, is, what happens if we're using an aged bourbon that we put in the freezer for a year? Is there any chemical changes? Is there any, or for 2 years or 3 years?
Right.
Because once you freeze ice cream, it'll last. If it's in a proper freezer, it'll last many, many years, right?
Sure.
If it's in a -20 freezer. So what happens to the chemical composition of that bourbon? Does it actually continue to age?
Right.
In the pint? And those are things we don't know because we're still a bit of a young company who's going through rapid scale.
For sure. And question on that. So what's the timeline for proof? Like what's the timeline of initial idea to we're in full production and putting out product?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it was in 2014, I started getting into this industry. I had I was still in Kentucky. I had an opportunity to take what I would call a very generic recipe and put some intellectual property around the idea, and ended up moving operations from Kentucky to South Carolina for some friendly regulatory environment that we have down here, as well as manufacturing. And quick plug, I played basketball at the University of South Carolina, so I already knew some folks in the area.
Gamecocks?
Yeah, go Gamecocks. And then I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Dirk, who actually became my mentor. And lo and behold, 6 years later, Dirk, you and I are partners. And I do have to say, I just have to give a shout out. He's going to get embarrassed, but I mean, how many times, guys, in your life do you get to, partner with your mentor and actually learn from somebody who has scaled companies to hundreds of millions of dollars?
Right.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about bourbon from my mentor, Jenn.
I don't know who gets the better deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty even balanced.
That's
there.
really cool.
So we've been doing this, I guess 7 or 8 years now. So people say, wow, you guys are overnight success. Well, if you count the last 7 years, but
yeah, for sure.
There was a proof of concept in the Carolinas, super successful, then rolled out to Florida. And now actually in Walmarts and Winn-Dixie's in Florida, as well as I think some Circle K's and 7-Elevens, and just opened up California. And getting ready to go up the coast and then to the Midwest as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, anyone who knows anything about business and that idea of overnight success, if a business actually did that, they would go under really quickly because they don't have that kind of, scalability, and they don't know what it takes to actually do this. So the fact that you said, obviously you've blown up recently just because of now getting out there, and your product's amazing, but there's so much work that goes into a product, especially a great product, beforehand, that if someone doesn't recognize that, to kind of divulge that to them, like you said, we've been at this for 6-8 years at this point. It's not just hey, we figured this out last Tuesday and threw it out to stores.
Exactly. And it's a labor of love. I mean, I don't say that tongue in cheek at all, because it's certainly while the product's great, Dirk and I are fortunate to be surrounded by a team that shares our passion. And our biggest sayings in our company is, we want folks that are helping us chase our dream to live their best life while we're doing that. So we know that folks on the ground, certainly in Florida, as well as here at our corporate headquarters, are all in on this product and all in on our team.
Does distribution for this, does it kind of parallel to like distribution for spirits?
Actually, no, it's not. It's unique in that, in the U.S., sales and distribution of alcohol goes state by state. So
sure,
we're regulated at the federal level from a manufacturing perspective and distribution perspective, and then we go into each state. So we work with in some states we do work with alcohol distribution partners. Some states we work with ice cream partners. In some states we work with both partners.
Right.
So it really depends on which state that you're operating in.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. We're a wholesaler in the 3-tiered system ourselves, so we can do our own distribution, if we get a license in the specific states. But we're a big partnership company. We really like to find good partners and partner with them for a long time. And we've been doing that as we open up here, the West Coast, California and Nevada, and it's opening up, and Arizona, and then in the Northeast, we're starting to open up. And then we have a bunch of international partnerships in discussion too. So we're really excited about like leveraging good people that are building their own good companies and helping bring our product to the world in that way.
I love that. I mean, and that's what makes a company successful too, is not just doing this in isolation, but recognizing, sure, we could probably figure this out by ourselves, but if we do this together, ultimately it benefits a bunch of different people, and we can make a much better product as a whole too. That's awesome. So what's our next flavor, Kyle?
Next is Mocha Chocolate Moonshine.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
This is, can I tell you, be honest?
Yeah.
Like when this was shipped to us, I opened the package initially because I had to see what it was about.
Gotcha.
I didn't open any ice creams.
Yeah, no.
But I saw this flavor and I was like, this one I'm super interested in.
You're a chocoholic?
Well, I'm weirdly becoming. Like a couple of years ago, I wouldn't say that, but now, give me some chocolate.
All right. How about some boozy chocolate?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you first on this one. That was a big scoop.
Don't judge me, man.
I love this one too.
Man. Yeah.
Whoa.
We have some fanatics about this flavor out there.
Wow. This is phenomenal.
It's really good, isn't it?
It reminds me, and I don't know if I should say it this way, it reminds me of a Frosty that you've just put booze in. Yeah. It's a boozy Frosty.
Well, with
none of that
just the
vanilla
right,
Frosty
but
crap.
just the
I mean,
right
like
touch
real
of
Frosty.
like coffee.
Correct.
Just the right touch of it.
It's like just a little bit. That is, oh.
Kyle, where do you taste the coffee notes?
I'm getting it honestly right at the beginning. I noticed the coffee pop right at the beginning, and then probably like midway through, and then just like with everything else, the lovely alcohol comes in right towards the end.
Right.
Totally just rocked into gentle slumber with the alcohol at the end. It's fantastic.
Is that how that works?
Yep.
Jen, because you brought it up, where do you normally get the coffee notes?
It's forward palate for me as well.
Right.
Similar to Kyle, it's very forward palate. I pick up the mocha notes first for sure.
I'm reminded of like a Jamocha shake type of a thing. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, which is a very much of a sweet spot for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble, Kyle.
What's that?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick a favorite.
I've got one in the clubhouse right now, but it could be overtaken.
Okay. Oh, that's going to be difficult to say.
Yep.
That's really good. I like that one. Before we move on to our final ice cream of the tasting, what excites you guys most about Proof as a whole, as a company, as a product, what you guys are trying to do? What excites you guys most?
I'm going to let the chairman answer.
So I've been doing tech startups most of my life. And, if you're a startup entrepreneur, you want to change the world and leave a legacy and all that stuff. And I got to tell you, this is a brand new product category that's almost magical, in my opinion, in terms of the taste profile and the combination of sort of two of my favorite things in life, right? Alcohol and ice cream. And so for me, this is largely and I don't like doing anything unless I'm doing it big. I'm a go big or go home kind of a person. And so when I first got involved with Jenn, I thought, oh, this is an interesting little side project. But gosh, we have an opportunity here to create an entirely new product category in the marketplace and bring it worldwide. And there's just not a lot of times in your life when you have an opportunity to do that. So for me, it's just an opportunity to do something big and exciting and change the world in my small way, make a few more people happy.
I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it seems unfathomable that this hasn't happened before, that this type of a product hasn't existed, especially on such a high quality.
Absolutely.
It's pretty phenomenal.
If you go online, you can search for some recipes for alcohol ice cream. You can make alcohol ice cream, but doing it at a scale that we're talking about, with the quality we're talking about, Jenn and I talk a lot about alcohol ice cream without compromise. And we share a passion for, no excuses, no compromises. If it's not excellent, we won't release it. And do that at a scale that's commercial is very challenging. We do have other folks that have done alcohol flavored ice creams,
right? Or
you have other people that try and put alcohol in the ice cream, but if you don't do it exactly right, you get a grainy texture, which in my opinion, why bother? Just eat ice cream and put a bottle of alcohol next to it.
Right.
So the ability to create this smooth, creamy product with the mouthfeel that we've created and the notes that come in when they come in is just not easy. But I think it's a game changer. So it's not that no one's tried to do this before, to be candid, right, Kyle? It's just that no one's done it well before. And Jenn and I are just spent the last 7 years figuring out how to do it well.
Fantastic.
So we're going to move on to our last ice cream, Kyle.
Yep.
And this is one that came highly recommended. So I'm glad this is one that we were sent. And this is the coconut rum flavored ice cream.
Yeah.
This is the one that a couple listeners were like, you've got to try this one. You ready?
Yep. I feel like this is going to be the Florida flavor.
That's exactly it.
Coconut rum. That screams Florida to me.
I just got a little on my hand. I kind of licked it off.
Oh, you suck.
You're not getting any of this. This is mine. Where's my spoon?
See, I know what they're tasting. I can taste it with you guys, even though I'm not eating it at the moment.
Holy crap.
Correct response.
Man.
I've
got to say, I think for this one, the alcohol, the spirit speaks the most prominently.
I was literally just going to say that. Of the four that we've had now, this is the one that almost immediately, this is a boozy ice cream.
Yeah. No, this puts me right in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Puts me right on island time.
It's summer in a pint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Legitimately. So here's a problem I normally have with coconut flavored anything, is that you either get not enough coconut, so you don't really know it's coconut, or you get that really fake sunscreeny note. And this is perfect. It literally tastes like, even on the back end, just like I've scooped some coconut out of the coconut shell, and I've just eaten that, and it is delicious. And that is incredible too.
Paired with that sweet rum, man, that's amazing. That is so good.
It is, and Kyle, that's really again compliments to your palate, because it is a sweeter rum. It blends with that and it melds with the recipe, because there's obviously different rums that are, sugarcane based versus, syrup and maple syrup. Yeah, it's a very, very good product, and one of my summer favorites for sure.
I understand why. What's really nice about this too is, I think, to me anyway, this is the sweeter of the four to me.
Okay. And
it might be because of that rum note. It might be because, I'm thinking Pina Colada, just hanging out on a beach. Yeah,
Nick, I agree with you. I have the same. It's very sweet, but it's very timely in its delivery.
I like that, timely of its delivery, because now I've had maybe 3 spoonfuls, and once you kind of acclimate to the alcohol that's in it, then you can start to parse out a lot of the other flavors, and you really get, here's the coconut. Wait for it. Now here's the rum, and then the coconut comes back, and to me, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun balance. I mean, we talk about the roller coaster ride of a drink all the time, about how, you know, different flavors will spike at different points in time, and you totally get that exact same experience with these ice creams. Like it's such a fun journey to go on of finding and discovering all these different flavors, and it's phenomenal. It's such a fun thing.
It's a party for your palate.
Indeed, it is. Absolutely, it is.
That's not on the packaging here, but it definitely should be. It definitely needs to be. So I could see like this being a really big seller in like right, exactly. A number one seller. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you're like, you know what? I want to. It's January and it's not great outside, and I just want to feel like I'm in the islands. And you crack this open, man.
Yeah.
You're there. You're there. You don't have to buy a plane ticket.
Well, Lord, we're in Florida, and I'm serious. Like that puts me right like on an island.
I mean, 20 minutes, we could be at the beach.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. You want to go right now?
I'm already there, man. That's what I'm
saying.
Okay.
I'm just impressed that you caught everything that Jen and I have been enjoying, and we're just pleased that you could enjoy some of it too. Oh,
and we really appreciate it because, I mean, honestly, Kyle, this is good stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can I pick your brain a little bit and ask, like, we were thinking about, you know, as soon as we had the opportunity to start thinking about what we would talk about in this episode, the ideas just like immediately start popping in your head of like different flavor combinations and things like that. I'm really curious if you've had any that just flat out didn't work. That was just like you tried to do a thing. I came up with a mint chocolate Malort. I don't know if you've ever heard of Malort or had Malort, but it is god awful, and you know there's no way I think you could make it work. But for you guys, have you tried that and just, you know, had high expectations and it just couldn't happen?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. So I do know that, and again, it's the alcohol ice cream without compromise, using really badly made alcohols.
Oh, sure.
That is not a good product.
Right.
Certainly not up to our standards. You know, there are flavors that are hit or miss, like mint julep, which I personally love because I'm from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
People either love it or they hate it. And there's no middle ground on that flavor. But as far as, you know, we are going to branch out into tequila ice cream as well, which is very, very good. We've done some R&D on that as well. But as far as a really bad flavor, I may turn that over to Dirk because I can't think of anything off the top of my head unless it was like a cream de mint. I guess the mint is not my jam.
Well, here's the other interesting thing, just to riff off of what Jen said. You know, there are flavors that are more bold that appeal to some people, but not most people. So as we grow, I'm actually excited to try some of those where, you know, it might be that 20% of the people love the flavor and the rest of the market doesn't. That's okay. I kind of like that idea that, right. You know, it's when we were talking with you about what you can taste in our ice cream amazes me because it's what Jen and I taste. Most people don't taste the nuances that you're describing, right? Most people say, hey, this is great. It's ice cream with alcohol in it. That's great. But those people who understand alcohol and who understand ice cream, by the way, would appreciate. In fact, Jen, I was just giving a tour with some Italian folks today, but they came in and said, "This is American ice cream." They didn't believe it was American ice cream. And so the quality of the ice cream and the quality of the alcohol makes the difference. I'm trying to think of a flavor we launched that we didn't like, or even one that we did in the lab that we didn't like. I will say one thing, and I'm sorry to say this in a public forum, Jen, but we got to bring back that peach whiskey.
Yeah.
That was killer. Yeah. That was an amazing flavor. And so that's one that's on my list. That's one of my all-time favorites. And usually what happens is we taste it and it's not where we want it to be. So by the time we actually have a product, Kyle, it kind of works because we've evolved it. Sure. So during the evolution process, I would say, like I remember making our bourbon chocolate cherry. If you put too much cherry in that could be a bit harsh. If you put too little cherry, you can't taste it. So you got to get the correct mix, right? But once you do that, most of these flavors turn out really well.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, all the things that you could do with this, not just from a recipe perspective, but all the kind of different cocktails you could eventually do as you guys expand and branch out, and partnerships with other companies too, and see, you know, much like other ice cream companies have done, not in the alcohol ice cream field, but see what else you guys can come come up with, and that excites me to see the future of proof as a whole.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's this idea of the opportunity of, because at the end of the day, we're the ultimate adult indulgence, if you will, in the F&B category, in the food and beverage category. So this opportunity to have anyone over the age of 21 to go all in on our product and our recipes. I think there's going to be a lot of fun collaborations and feedback.
Absolutely agreed. What better way to plus up any dessert?
Right. You got some apple pie? Well, listen.
You like it a la mode? You like it a la mode with a little bourbon? Yeah, I do.
You got some peach crumble there? Oh, just wait a second. I got something for
About to
you.
be way better.
Hey, real quick, we have some listener questions, but can we take Kim's advice and mix one of these with some coffee?
Oh, absolutely.
Which one would you recommend?
A bourbon caramel.
Bourbon Caramel.
If I was sitting with you right now, yes, absolutely.
We've got some high quality coffee here, Kyle. I only drink the best.
Cool.
AeroPressed and everything.
You fancy.
I know.
Yeah, you just stir it around for about 15 seconds and you get this amazing creamy layer on the top that,
Yeah, the Cheesecake Moonshine is also not bad in the coffee, right, Jen?
oh yeah, no, it is very good too. Yeah.
Do you want to do the Bourbon Caramel and I'll do the Cheesecake Moonshine?
And the mocha chocolate's really good too.
Oh, come on. Now, let's just mix them all together and see what happens.
Okay, you remember you were talking about bad recipes earlier? That would be a bad
That would be the bad one? Okay.
Man, just the smell of this.
What's the Beastie Boys song? I like my sugar with coffee and cream.
I don't know a lot of Beastie Boys.
I believe that. I think I mixed it pretty good. What do you think?
This is a great little Christmas morning treat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is.
Whoa. Yes.
Better than any Starbucks. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That is delicious. You want to try me?
No, I don't.
Why?
No.
So I didn't mix mine completely. There's like still like little bitty chunks of ice cream.
Yeah, I
and
got
so
that too.
you get that and then you hit one of those little flavor bursts. Gosh, that's so good.
I'm going to drink the rest of this and put some bourbon caramel in it then.
Okay. Help yourself.
That is delicious. That's a good call. Yeah, you said Christmas morning? Man, 100%.
Yeah, it's good.
In our company, every day is Christmas.
I bet.
Christmas morning, Monday morning. You got a Tuesday? Sure. All right, so we got a couple of questions from our listeners real quick, you guys. Let's see. So a listener asks, what is the moment that Proof realized this was necessary for the future of man? That's weighty.
Yeah.
I love the audience. I'm going to kick that over to my partner.
The moment we discovered it was possible, we realized that we needed to bring it to the world.
True statement right there.
I like that.
We actually didn't think it was possible. When I first met Jen, I said, I'm a scientist by training, and I didn't understand how this would be possible. So that was really the big deal for me.
I'll be honest, like that's what fascinates me most about
Really?
it, I think,
Like,
is
honestly.
like the amount of science and chemistry that's involved to make it absolutely delicious.
So Kyle asks, not you, Kyle.
Oh.
Yeah, there are more. There's a couple. So how do you guys come up with flavor and liquor combinations? I mean, is it just like these are kind of the standard things that we see in terms of cocktails, or is it like, no, this is the one we have to do?
Yeah, we don't base any of our flavors off cocktails. We have not done that so far. It's served us well, because I think if you pigeonhole yourself into the cocktail corner, you're really limiting the experience of the flavor profiles that our proprietary recipe on the ice cream side would be good with on the alcohol side. So it's really just, it's a lot of R&D. It's a lot of a dab here, a dab there, for lack of a better expression, and just testing out different flavor combinations with different alcohols.
Awesome. Chris asks, this is kind of more of a business question. What pitfalls did you guys come into initially in terms of making a combination alcohol and ice cream company, if any?
Gosh, I mean, kind of laughing because we fail every day, right? But we get up to fight again. But no, from a pitfall perspective, and I'll let Dirk delve into this a bit more too. But I think it's just understanding that it's a marathon and not a sprint. That's something I learned early on from Dirk, that just because you're not getting exactly what you want or going exactly where you want to be, even 6 months or 6 years in, doesn't mean that it's for lack of effort or anything that you're doing wrong necessarily. It's just making sure that you're giving your best every day and leading your team the right way. so that you can continue to take those small steps forward to be successful.
Yeah, no, I think it's the same what Jen just said. I will say that starting any company has all the same sort of challenges. It's just a different flavor of the same challenge, I should say. But one thing that's interesting is we do basically three things, right? We make ice cream, we distribute it, or make alcohol ice cream, we distribute it, and then it gets sold at retail. And if you think about that, the distribution has been probably the hardest, right, Jen? I mean, I'm surprised at how good we are at making the volumes we need and all that stuff. Getting it to the customers in a highly regulated industry like frozen dairy alcohol that's the biggest challenge. But it's also been the most rewarding part of the journey for me. And we've enabled it through a lot of Jen's brilliance on how to build a company in this kind of environment, as well as a lot of partnerships and really good people helping us along the way. I think at the end of the day, it's all about the good people helping us.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point. And that was kind of like a big question that I had too, is we know how, is draconian the right word? Might be. The distribution liquor laws are here in the States. And I mean, we get emails all the time from people outside the States like, well, you guys just buy your stuff on Amazon. No, it doesn't work that way. Not here in the States anyway.
No.
You know, that was kind of my question of how do you navigate the minefield of the state level, the federal level, and I think you answered that a little bit earlier, and that's really super interesting to me.
Well, I'll say one other thing about my partner, Jen. She is such a perfectionist. We don't compromise on anything, and that includes every piece of documentation, all the regulatory paperwork. She is just amazingly particular about making sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. And it turns out if you do that and you're in a very genuine way, then people like to help you. If you're really legitimately trying to maintain the best practices in your side, then other people tend to help you on their side, it turns out.
And finally, one last question. Our friends over the Sci-Fi Wise Guys podcast ask, I think, something that's on everyone's mind, if they haven't already Googled it, is do you guys ship ice cream?
We do ship ice cream. We do direct to consumer, and we actually, UPS is our partner, our shipping partner. We do ship to, Dirk, if I'm not mistaken, it's either 42 or 46 states.
Wow.
There are some states that do not allow any alcohol shipping whatsoever. So if you go on our website at proofalcoholicecream.com, you will see which states we do ship to. I will say that, what's interesting about the D2C market is that it's very, very expensive to ship ice cream because you have to do it next day air and you have to utilize dry ice, which is very heavy. So there's usually 4 to 5 pounds of dry ice in that box. So it can be a bit more expensive than going to your local retailer. But for folks that do want to invest in the opportunity to taste the product before we come into their states, this is a very good way to be acquainted with Proof alcohol ice cream.
And I would say that everyone needs to do that right now.
I'm thinking like holiday.
Oh, for sure.
That's like such
for
a brilliant,
gift?
holiday, like ship out some ice cream to some folks.
Well, you know what holiday is on the horizon here, Kyle? Memorial Day is kind of like the kickoff to summer.
You're not wrong.
This would be a great, everybody needs to go right now on their device.
It's proofalcoholicecream.com.
Order you a couple boxes, 3, 6, 8, however many you need, right?
Totally.
And that's going to kick off your summer. And I mean, what better way to do that?
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Indeed.
Jen, Dirk, do you guys have anything else that you want to plug as we kind of wrap up here?
Again, I would just like to reiterate to both of you gentlemen how grateful we are for the opportunity to share our story and our journey. And, we don't take these opportunities for granted, and anything we can do to support you and your podcast going forward, please reach out.
Oh, you guys are kind. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
And we're a premium product, but I think at a price that is really accessible. And what I really admired was the fact that you recognized that in such a great and articulate way when you were describing it, because you caught pretty much everything that Jen and I catch in this product. And the amount of work that goes into this kind of a product, it's like Jen said, it's a labor of love. And I just feel joyful when people get it, like when people actually taste it, as opposed to just guzzling it down, which does all. I mean, I'm not saying don't guzzle it down. You go ahead and guzzle it. but the nuances of the product are quite remarkable if you actually take the time to taste it. So that was great to hear you do that. Thank you.
Indeed, yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us, doing a tasting with us, and more importantly, sending us some of this great ice cream. It is incredible. Honestly, I know that I've said those words a lot, but I say it genuinely. It is great stuff.
yep, absolute full stamp of approval. Fantastic meeting you guys. Thank you so much. Like, this has been unbelievably amazing. Fantastic stuff. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome. I had so much fun. I won't speak for you, sorry, Dirk, but I certainly had a wonderful time watching you guys taste the flavors. So much joy there from this end.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. See y'all.
Man, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. What a cool opportunity to talk to the creators of Proof.
Yeah, and I kind of went into it with a little bit of like, how are they going to do alcohol ice cream the right way?
Yeah.
And honestly, they knock it out of the park.
Indeed, man. Like, just absolutely delicious.
Impressive, delicious too.
Yeah. I mean, you've had things that are like manufactured and alcoholic
Sure.
added kind of stuff before.
Sure.
And it's never anything that you're just like raving about, but like, no, fully, like, this was amazing stuff. Like, I would absolutely recommend this to anybody.
100% so. And they're not even sponsoring the podcast yet.
No, not yet.
You see what we did there? You got anything else, Kyle?
Yeah, we've got hard decisions to make.
What's that?
Definitively, what was your favorite flavor?
That's not fair.
I know it's not, but
Like legit, that's not fair.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
And I could totally see it being like in this moment, that was my favorite. Ask me in 5 minutes, I'm going to change my mind, and that was my favorite.
Okay. So we had the Bourbon Caramel.
Yep.
We had the Cheesecake Moonshine.
Delicious.
We had the Mocha Chocolate Moonshine.
Absolutely amazing.
And we had the Coconut Rum.
Scrumdiddlyumptious.
And I know they've got other flavors too, but
Yep.
of the four that we had, I'm going to go with the Mocha Chocolate Moonshine.
I've never pegged you as a chocolatey lover.
You're right. You're 100% right, because like if there's a dessert, I'm not going to go for the chocolate dessert.
Right.
But it's the mocha aspect, that like coffee flavor, and that you said Jamocha shake. It reminds me of a boozy frosty,
Yeah.
like right up my alley.
Yeah.
Because it's just enough chocolate where it's chocolate, but it's not like like a double chocolate gooey fudge brownie chocolate.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure. It's not. It doesn't have any of those kind of like overly like bitter notes
Right,
and stuff
right.
like that. It's just like a nice smooth chocolate.
Absolutely. And to me, that's what stands out. Like, can I pick a second, like a
Sure.
Bourbon Caramel's right behind it.
Yep.
All right. So what is your favorite?
Oh man, surprisingly,
Yeah.
even to me, like I was really interested to try the flavor. I was really surprised how much I liked it. Was that coconut rum?
Really?
Yeah.
I would have said the same thing that you said about mine. Like, I would not have said that for you.
I mean, same. The bourbon caramel is right there.
Right.
It's absolutely delicious, but I really liked how the coconut rum had a little bit more of a boozy pop to it.
Right.
The rum in that one is really pronounced.
Absolutely.
Everything else, I kind of feel like you had to kind of, wait for the alcohol to present itself. But with that one, it was like right there, and it was delicious, and you just got all the flavor of it right from the beginning. It was fantastic.
And like I said in the conversation, what surprised me the most about that is, for me, anytime I get anything coconut, it always leans sunscreen.
Right.
And this, not at all.
Right.
Like, it was perfect, spot on. It literally tasted like scooped out some coconut and just delicious.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Take that and like squeeze a lime over it.
Put the lime in the coconut
On top of the coconut.
and drink it bottled up.
Drink a boat up.
Boat up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we want to know what you think about Proof alcohol ice cream. Have you had a chance to go grab you a couple pints?
Nay.
Huh?
The pleasure.
Ooh, nay, the privilege.
Yes. You want your indulgence to arrive.
And if you haven't gone to the store to pick one up, you need to go to their website right now. Like, literally, pause the podcast. We'll allow it this time.
Right.
Pause the podcast. proofalcoholicecream.com.
Yep.
Go grab you, like, honestly, a couple of boxes. I think you can get in like 4, 6, 8 in a box. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid of a flavor, because I totally trust whatever they're doing. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
To hear how much like they're putting into each flavor to get it just right. The tweaking and everything to get flavors to be so harmonious. Like, I would try anything.
Yeah. I know they got some seasonal flavors going on. I know that they've got
I want some.
I want some too. Strawberry moonshine, apple pie moonshine. I know. Holy crap. So I know they've got a bunch of different flavors. Pistachio rum.
Ooh.
I know. So go grab you a couple pints, and you're going to be glad you did.
Yep.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email at drepandstone@gmail.com. You also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. Come find us, like us, see some of our posts, like some of our posts, share some of our posts.
Even better.
Be that real fan.
Correct. Speaking of fans, if you want to support the podcast and help keep that fan on,
Yeah.
we would really appreciate it.
How can you do that, Nick?
You can do that through our Buy Me a Coffee page. It's buymeacoffee.com/drepandstone. That's just for now, Kyle. We might be moving somewhere else. We're teasing that a little bit again.
Ooh, nice.
I know. You can also support the podcast by rating Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one, and just tell somebody about the podcast. We mention it every episode.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
Stop, hold back, and share your knowledge
Yeah, share the good news about Drep and Stone. Share the good news about Proof Alcohol Ice Cream.
with the world.
Reach out to Proof. Let them know, hey, your product's amazing. We heard about it through Drep and Stone. We really appreciate both of you guys.
Yeah, and who knows? We might be able to work out some sort of promo in the future.
That'd be cool.
I love that. Yeah, sounds good.
Got it under control really quick.
I heard that. You want cheers with spoons?
You know it.
Okay. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Ice cream cheers.
Cheers. Ready to get started?
Yeah. Jump
You
in.
guys ready?
Absolutely.
You guys are good. You guys are pretty good.
Rush. That's like a 90s racing movie with...
Hey, Jen, I'm intimidated by the microphone.
Don't be.
You're letting them off too easy, Dirk.
So, by the way, you don't have to feel bad because Jen didn't know who Rush was either. I'm like,
Thank
what?
goodness.
Cardinal directions here, Kyle.
It's ice cream, bro.
Not my dog. Does that mean it just all goes to hell? Who knows? As a side note, I've got a weird warning that I've never seen before. So that's really frustrating. That's going to be a call to Zoom. they're gonna hear from me.
Strongly worded.
Strongly
email.
worded email. I'm with you.
Are you?
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, we're in the same room.
Yeah,
but
no, we are together.
I got you.
Okay. Mustachio.
Mustachio?
Mustachio. That was my name in college. So visit Proof Alcohol Ice Cream, all one word, .com.